In today's video, I show you a single prompt that builds an entire application with Google's AI Studio. And this application analyzes your web designs through the eyes of an art director and outputs a detailed analysis of how your web design is being perceived. And this analysis is meant to be human-like and insightful so you can make better design choices. And welcome to another video of Prompt in Focus. This is a weekly series where I show you interesting ideas, results and design tools based on a single AI prompt. And my name is Ruben Stom. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you aren't familiar with my Prompt in Focus videos, I usually show the prompt first and explain what I like to achieve by deep diving into it, and after that I show the actual output. And you can download the prompt that I used in today's video for free with the link in the video description, by the way. So something that I really love about design is the theory behind it. Why does a design make me feel a specific way, and why do I like one design over the other? So I created this app to identify exactly that. And the purpose of this app is to receive feedback on your web designs. So the app analyzes your uploaded image and gives you feedback based on specific areas. And you can customize these areas to match the things that you find important. And you can use this app for many different design types as well. But I focused on a specific category, web design, so the feedback is more focused and therefore more useful to me. So today's prompt is a long one, so let's quickly dive into it. I start the prompt by defining what the AI model should do, which is building an app named Visual Signal, where the AI model takes on the role of an art director and analyzes an image of a website design. And I give it instructions regarding the tone of voice, as I want it to be easy to understand for beginner designers. I also tell it to make the analysis theoretical, and when I don't mention it to be theoretical, it outputs a very static analysis, like the web design uses the color red, instead of explaining that red is being used to create urgency and is associated with things like love and danger. And knowing the theory behind colors can really become important when making design decisions. In the next section, I describe the layout of the application and I tell it to allow the user to upload a single image displaying the analysis next to the image and divide it into clearly separated sections. And I want each section to be only one paragraph long with no bullet points. And this is simply because I prefer the output to feel more human-like rather than like a static list, but that's just personal preference. Next, I mention 8 points that the AI model should look for during the analysis, and I start with the color usage. And the most important thing that I want to analyze is what the colors communicate, and I give examples like blue being traditionally associated with trust or red suggesting urgency. And the idea here is to become aware of what the colors convey and whether that aligns with what I intended for the website. Then I move on to the visual hierarchy, which analyzes the visual weight of certain elements in the design. And after that comes the typography, how clear is the text to read and what does the font selection convey and so on. And some other specific design elements I asked it to analyze are spacing, layout, consistency and branding. And I end the prompt with an overall evaluation provided by the art director along with a rating based on their findings. And this was just to make the analysis a bit more playful and feel human-like. Before I show you the result, I want to mention that I used Gemini 3 Pro to build the application, and I also tried using the same prompt in the more recently released Gemini 3 Flash, and I noticed a significant difference in speed. So Flash took only seconds to finish while Gemini Pro sometimes took minutes, but the results were also much better with the Pro model. Especially when iterating on a previous prompt, I noticed that the Flash model really struggled and it focused so much on a specific task that it forgot to think further, and in many cases it redesigned things that were not meant to be changed. And I had to explicitly mention not to adjust anything, and even then it still made unwanted changes on many occasions. And it's very frustrating to discover that something unintentionally changed several prompts ago and that you have to refer to an older version. And in my experience, the waiting time for using Gemini 3 Pro is definitely worth it for now at least. So here's the result, and this version of the app is already styled with one of the styling prompts for my own UI design library. And if you haven't watched the video about creating your own UI design library, I've included a link to it in the description. And you can also find the specific styling prompt that I used for today's app in the video description. And there's no need to style the application, by the way. Here you can see how the app looked after the first prompt before the styling prompt was added. And the analysis and the upload system are exactly the same, so the only difference is how it looks. I also added a logging feature and a database, And I did this because I wanted to store web design analyses so I could revisit them later if needed. So on the left there's a field to upload an image, and once uploaded I can hit the Analyze Vision button to start the analysis, which takes a few seconds. And when it's ready, the output appears on the right side of the page next to the uploaded image, just as I specified in the prompt. And the output is divided into different sections, and I think that this is where the real opportunity lies for designers. You can adjust the prompt to analyze your designs based on the aspects that matter most to you. And I'm particularly interested in color theory, for example, and I use this heavily in my communication with my clients. And I always explain my design choices, but now I can go even further by backing them up with interesting theory and insights into how users may perceive the web design. In the top right corner there's a history button that shows all previously saved analyses, and I'm working currently on a new video that explains how you can connect your apps to a database and store your data just like I did here. Here I used a website designed by Studio Faculty as an example to demonstrate the app, and this website is built by Cory Gibbons, and the images come from one of my favorite photographers, Chung, and I'll leave links in the description in case you're interested in viewing their work. And I found this analysis particularly interesting to show as it demonstrates how well the AI model understands web design and the theory behind it. And the first thing that it mentions is the warm cream background color, and that it feels more welcoming than a pure white color, for example. And this also creates the feeling of a physical book rather than a digital screen. And that alone is already valuable information, especially since faculty department promotes their book as soon as you land on the homepage. So the color palette clearly complements the paper book feel in this example. So in the second section of the analysis it discusses the visual hierarchy, and what I really liked here is that it identifies the first element that will catch the viewer's attention, and instead of pointing out a random element somewhere in the middle of the page, it understands that the eye is drawn to the top first, and in this case the large image on the right, after which the viewer's focus shifts toward the smaller image on the left, and that makes perfect sense. The analysis also mentions the serif typography and how it aligns with the name faculty department, as serif fonts are often perceived as more traditional and authoritative. And one thing that the model does struggle with is determining how legible the text is. And the reason for this is that it can't accurately judge font size, since the analysis is based solely on an image, so the font size could be 10 pixels or 40 pixels depending on the size of the screen and the screenshot. And the analysis ends with a final evaluation by the art director, and in this final evaluation the art director praises the design by highlighting its luxurious feel and stunning photography, and the design is rated a 9 out of 10. So this app gives human-like and insightful feedback based on your images, so you can make better design choices. And if you want to recreate the web application that I showed today, you can access both the base prompt and the styling prompt via the link in the video description. And I hope you found this video helpful and enjoyed it, and it would mean very much to me if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel, and if you have any questions feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.